Well, hello everybody. This is my first recording of the year, so hopefully this all goes well. I am going to go through all the problems that the students are going to need to know to work on the test. The test is on Monday on 10/7/19, and there should be a letter that went home that explains all the topics. Sign it, and they get a little extra bonus point. I'll go through these, and page 1, for the most part, we got done in class, and the rest of this was homework. So let's take a look at it. So for each of these problems, we've done a lot of strategies. And if you start looking at the first problem, you can take away the parentheses if it's all multiplication they've learned. So this can become 9 times 10, which is 90. And over here, we could do 5 times 2 first, which is 10, times a 13, which is 130. The second one, my suggestion to the kids was to probably do doubling and halving. You can double one factor, like 50, to make it 100, really easy to multiply with, and cut the other number, 64, in half, which is 32. That's 3,200 minus that part right there, which is 64. And the answer would be, I'm going to do the subtraction in my head, 3136. But you would do the subtraction off to the side probably, minus 64 with some regrouping, 3,136. The other way you could do it is to multiply 100 times 64 and then cut that answer in half. That's 5 is half of 10 strategy. Kids have learned over on 1D, you got to take care of all the parentheses first before you do anything else. So we get the 24, the 12, and the 18. Adding comes last when you have multiplication and adding. That's the order of operations. You probably remember learning this as a kid, parents. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. You got parentheses, exponents, multiply and divide before you add or subtract. So we got double 24 underneath here is 48, plus double the 12 is 24, plus double the 18 is 36. Again, if you add this all up, it comes out to be 108. Number 2, we've got 497. So you got 99 here, plus another 497. So without going into solving this, you don't really need to do that problem. That problem, you figure out, well, there's 100 497s, and this expression matches this. So that turns into 100 of the 497s. And that answer is way easier to do. You got 497 plus zeros for 9,700. This one, here's the initial expression. It starts at 98 of those 36s, or 36s of the 98s. Kind of look at it either way. It looks like you got a bunch of 36s as you look at the second expression. They're going to use the over strategy, and you can ask the kids what that's about. The over strategy means you're going to multiply by something that's easier, that's a little bit bigger. So 98 is going to turn into the 100. When you do that, you got to take away the 2 extras. So this is easy to multiply. 3,600 minus 2 36s is 72. Subtract those, and you get 3,528. And again, you could do the subtraction off to the side, but that's what it would be. Number 3, the missing number in the equation, you need to fill in right here to describe how you figured this out. So I'll talk about how I did it and not write it all out. I actually don't like the blanks at the beginning. I like it afterwards. So I actually would do this. And we are going to use the doubling and halving strategy here. If you double the 14 factor, you have to cut the other factor in half. So you got to divide it in half so that it stays equal. 16 cut in half is 8. So 8 times 28, there's our missing number. 8 times 28 is the same as 16 times 14. We don't need to solve it. We just had to identify what's the missing factor. Number 4, you have to decide whether the equation is true or false. Is this side Sorry about that. I had to stop for a second because the whole writing system stopped working. All right, so this side of the equation we have to decide is it true or false? Is it equal to that side? The answer to this one is it is using the over strategy by increasing how many 67s you have. We have 18 67s, and they increase it to 20 of them, but then they go ahead and take out 2 of the extra ones. So they did use this strategy correctly. Again, we don't need to solve it. We just have to decide, is it equivalent? And it is. And on the last one down here, this one is false. It is not, and it's pretty easy. 39 times 13, is it equal to 39 times 13 plus another 13? And the kids could write something like, it has an extra 13. This is not correct. Page 2. Last one on this number 4 question. Is 2 times 5 times 4 equal to 2 times 5 times 4? Parentheses have moved. They have learned that it doesn't matter as long as all the factors are the same and everything is still being multiplied. I'm sorry. This is true. They have just moved the grouping symbols, the parentheses. All right, number 5. Write an expression for each statement using parentheses where you need to. So on this one, we're going to say 15 times 18 is going to use the doubling and halving. So it's equal to, we can't cut 15 in half, so we're going to have to double the 15. And we're going to multiply that by half of 18. That's all you need. Now, we could go to 30 times 9, but you don't need to do it that far. 30 times 9 is not where you want to be. That's starting to solve the problem. Let's see, 9 times 26, they're going to change it to 10 times 26. Again, I'm just kind of writing what they have here. And that goes as a grouping, parentheses, and subtract one group of 26. One group of 26 looks like that. That's it. Still have 9 groups of 26. Finding the volume of a box, we know it's length times width times height. So we're going to do 18 times 21 for the, that says it's the base, times its layers, which is also, call it height, is 37. No solution needed. They just said write the expression. Now on number 6, it says write and solve the equation. So this means we're going to have an equal sign because it says equation, following the strategy and actually get an answer. So 15 times, so we've got 15 times 32 is equal to multiplying 10 times 32 and subtract 5 times 32, or add to it, I'm sorry, because it's 15 of them. Add 5 more 32s. So here you got 10 of the 32s, 5 more 32s, there's 15 of them altogether. So I guess I'll use the space here above. 320 plus, we've learned 5 is half of 10, so the answer to 5 times 32 will be half the size. So half of 320 is 160, and altogether that's 480. You could multiply 10 times 32 and 5 times 32 and then add it together, but they should know that by now. And then the last one on number 6, 42 times 25, doing doubling and halving. So 42 times 25 is going to turn into, you can't cut 25 in half. So we're going to double the 25 and multiply, or divide the 42 in half. That means we get 50 here times 21 is half of 42. I'm going to do the 50 times 20 plus one more 50. So I still have 21 50s. There's 1,000 plus 50 is 1,050. Page 3. Volume questions. The first thing I've taught the kids is identify the length and width and height. So I use the little dot system here to make sure I don't miss anything. 1, 2, 3, 4 is the length. The width is 3, and the height is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's my base right here. It is 4 by 3 times a height of 7. So that turns into 12 times 7 equals 84 cubic units. does say equation, so we have to solve that one. This one, they've already identified it, so we know that the base is 6 by 2, and the height right there is 5. So 12 times 5 is what you're going to do, which is 60 cubic units. And the last one on the page is the same kind of question without any picture. So he got the bottom layer. They've already told us the base. So if the kids are wondering, where's the length and width, they've already done it for you. So the base, put that right here, which is length times width, is multiplied by 9 for the height. So I'm going to do 24 times 10, kind of use the over strategy and get rid of the extra 24 when I'm done with that. So 10 24s is 240, but we got to get rid of one of those 24s, and that ends up being, I can do the subtraction, but I'll just do that. It's 216 baseballs or footballs or whatever kind of thing Brad's got going. And the last page, we have 3 problems. The kids will probably figure out very quickly that this is the same division problem. 4 people with 57 cookies. 57 kids and 4 to a car on the second one. And the third one, $57 for 4 pizzas. So I'll just, for right now, solve the long division here. 4 goes into 17 4 times. So they all come out to be 14 remainder 1. The equations will all read 57 divided by 4 equals 57 divided by 4 equals. Now, the answer is all 14 remainder 1, but you have to answer the question, and that's what we've talked about. What do you do with the remainder? When you have all these cookies and they're sharing them equally, one, so put it into 4 parts. Every kid gets 14 cookies. There is 1/4. So 14 1/4 cookies. When you have 14 and remainder 1 with kids, you got a kid left over, not in a car. We have to go to 15 cars. We had to round up. And on the last one of the pages, we've got $57 for the pizza for 4 of them. 14 with that remainder. So the remainder equals $1. And you can split $1 up into 4 parts, 25 cents each, so $14.25 a pizza. And there you have it. Hopefully this helps. You guys have a good night.